Hi friends, how are you? It is October, and as many of you know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but you may also know, or perhaps you don't, it's also Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and so that is why I am wearing purple, because that is the color. It's pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month and purple for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So, just a couple of things that I just want to preface the video just a little bit by saying, I in no way am making this video to say that I don't support one cause or I think you should support one cause over another. That's false. Obviously, these are two very worthy causes, but I'm just going to talk about how we as a country and as a society tend to focus on Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It gets a lot more publicity, a lot more time in the limelight than maybe Domestic Violence Awareness Month does, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why I think that's true and what we can do about that. So I'm not saying that one is more important. That's ridiculous. I'm just talking about how there is some inconsistencies with what gets covered or what gets attention. So that's number one. And number two, when I talk about domestic violence, I will use the male pronoun and refer to the abuser as the husband or he, and use the wife or she as the victim. That is not to say that roles cannot be reversed. It's not to say that same-sex couples do not experience domestic violence. That's not that at all. It's just that for the purposes of this video and making things clear, that's how I'm going to talk. Okay, so we've got that sorted out. Let's get going. I think that we talk more about it being Breast Cancer Awareness Month instead of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And that's really simple. It all comes down to marketing and publicity. And so sex sells. Duh, that's a pretty common marketing tool or known. And so if you're selling Breast Cancer Awareness Month, sure, you can just flaunt a lot of things about, woo, save the boobies or save second base, which in my opinion is pretty insulting to sexualize a disease, you know, because when they show pictures of promoting breast cancer awareness, you know, they always show somebody who is pre-surgery. You know, they just show somebody out there in their bra or saying, take your bra off for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. That's not really what breast cancer looks like. You know, folks who have gone through double mastectomies and that surgery, they have horrific scars, and it's totally their choice whether they want to get reconstructive surgery or not. So it's not about what the typical breast looks like that is put out on display for male enjoyment. So I think that that is really problematic, that the images that are put out there in terms of like, oh, save your boobs, that's not what breast cancer looks like. It doesn't look like healthy breasts that are just out there for people to gawk at and look at and feel, or, you know, whatever. So I think it's so disrespectful to those who are going through that journey and that treatment to have it just be a sexualized thing, especially because I know that I take a lot of my self-image and a lot of my pride as a woman from the fact that I have a curvy shape. I like it. So if that was to be taken away from me due to an illness, I know that would be really painful for me, physically and emotionally, obviously. And so I wouldn't want that just to be turned in, you know, like, my boobs are a part of me. They're not necessarily just for the enjoyment of other people. And so if a disease is happening to me and to them, I wouldn't want other people just to take notice because, oh gosh, what a shame, now your boobs are going to be gone. I can't look at them. So I think the over-sexualization of breast cancer awareness, marketing materials and things is really a shame. And it's really, like, I think that as a society we can be a little bit smarter with our approach to it. So another reason why I think that breast cancer awareness gets more attention than domestic violence is there's a clear enemy for breast cancer. That's cancer. Everybody can agree cancer sucks. It's got to go. But for domestic violence, number one, you need to admit that it's happening. And a lot of times that's not the truth. Take the NFL for an example. So they all wear, I shouldn't say all, some of the teams will wear pink shoes, they'll have pink gloves, the cheerleaders will have pink pom-poms, great, they're raising awareness for the cause, great. That's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. However, the NFL has a huge problem with many of their players beating up their wives. but they don't acknowledge that. So they're not out there with purple shoes or purple pom-poms, you know, saying this is a problem that we have within our institution, we need to address it, because that would mean that, number one, you have to admit that there is this problem, that your players are harming other folks, and that the enemy, so to speak, is one of your own. You know, if you put a face, you can't put a face on breast cancer. You can put boobs on it, and those are great. People love that. As wrong as it is, people love that. But to put a face on domestic violence, the perpetrator, that's a person. You know, that's somebody's husband. That's elected officials. That's sports heroes. That's your neighbor. You know, those are people that you see every day. And so it's harder to call out somebody that you, in real life, those are real people, so it's harder to make them the enemy, you know, and it's harder to stop. So there's no cure really for domestic violence. The cure for cancer is we just cure cancer. It's gone, it's not a disease anymore. The cure for domestic violence is, oh, wait a minute, that's a lot harder to find, because it's not like you could just take that away. The cure for domestic violence is a societal issue where you have to teach men to stop hitting women, you know, to treat women equally and fairly, which why the heck would they when our society doesn't? So I think that's one of the reasons why it doesn't get the attention, because number one, nobody wants to talk about what happens behind closed doors, and number two, it calls into question, who are these people that are our heroes? Who is this happening to? Why is it happening? And what am I doing to further it happening? You know, what am I doing to contribute to a rape culture, to a culture that places women's safety and health below other people's? So it's a lot more asking people to think about and talk about domestic violence makes them think about and talk about their own lives and what's going on instead of, so it's a harder beast to tackle, and it's not attractive and it's not fun. But it is what it is. So those are why I think that domestic violence doesn't get the attention. It doesn't get the funding. It doesn't get the big name backers, you know, because even when people do come out and speak out about it or tell their stories or whatnot, the response is they always have to justify. There's so much victim blaming. They always have to justify, well, why did you stay in that situation? Well, that's not really the question you should be asking. You shouldn't be asking somebody, why did you stay in an abusive relationship? You should be asking, why did that person abuse you? You know, not why did you stay? Because a lot of times when you think about domestic violence, it's not just the man comes home and hits his wife. There are so many other facets of it that make it more challenging, you know? So it's not just the physical abuse. Well, that is oftentimes the most difficult. Or the most alarming one, or the one that gets instant attention. So, but in other ways, it's emotional abuse, making the person feel like they're nothing repeatedly over and over until they truly believe that. Taking away resources. So we heard a lecture at church this past weekend, and one of the big things is financial abuse. So if one partner limits all of the funding and all of the money from the other partner, okay, so they don't have any money, they don't have any access to any money, but then this, like, let's say the husband puts all of the household bills in the wife's name, okay, but he doesn't pay them. But that goes on her credit record. So then when she tries to flee, number one, she doesn't have any money. She doesn't have any access to her own money, but her credit is gone. So she can't apply for a loan. She can't get a new house because all of these things that are really outside of her control. So I think it's a broader scope than just, why did you let him hit you? Which nobody lets anybody, you know, it's a slower slope into domestic violence than what we typically portray. So these are just some of my thoughts on why I think that one issue gets a lot more attention than another issue. Once again, I'm not saying that one is better than the other. It is not. But I think that we need to, like, we got the message about breast cancer. We got it. I mean, I've got it. I understand what I need to do. But I think now we can look at what, as a society, we need to do to take care of domestic violence in our communities, in our homes, you know, and I think that it's time that the media stops focusing on things that are sexy and things that are popular. Boobs are great. They're fine. They really are. But I think that it is a direct insult to those who are suffering or dealing with a very, very serious illness to just focus it on the fact that it's boobs. You know, if domestic violence somehow profited men, I think it would get more attention. But it doesn't. It harms men because it places the blame on them. It holds them accountable for treating women poorly. Whether or not you're hitting somebody or not, if you're living in a society and you're allowing that to go on, then you're part of the problem. Whereas, so that doesn't benefit men. But saving a bunch of girls and their boobs and having pictures and things up, that benefits men. Of course it does. So I think that we need to change the way that we're thinking and doing things so that, you know, I would love to think that we no longer need Domestic Violence Awareness Month, because it's no longer, you know, our society has become such, we're already aware. We don't need to be more aware during a certain month because we're already aware, we're already fighting it, we're already saying this is unacceptable, okay? So, I don't know, that's just what I think about that. Anyway, so let me know what you think. Did you even know it was Domestic Violence Awareness Month? Do you have any thoughts? Why do you, like, do you think that the breast cancer awareness, like over-sexualization of their media portrayal, do you think that I'm correct in saying that, or you're fine with it? It's just good humor? I don't know. Let me know. So yeah, maybe it's just something to think about when you are, you know, sort of what you're buying. Oh, another reminder as well. Just because somebody slaps a pink ribbon on something does not mean that you should buy that item and money is stopping breast cancer. So I would encourage everybody to take a look at these companies that are selling breast cancer awareness items and how much money actually goes back into the cause. I would encourage you to do that for anything you're buying, especially if they're saying that they're making a charitable contribution. How much of it actually is, okay? Because just like Lance Armstrong was not really stopping cancer with his yellow bracelets, you know, if you're getting a pink bracelet, how much money is actually going back to that funding source? Or would you be better just to donate directly to it? Just saying, just saying. Okay, real talk, everybody, real talk. So anyway, I hope that you all are having a great day, and I will see you later. Bye.